Hey, book babes. I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Peyton.
And today we are ranking every single fucking book that we read in 2024 from our 1-star reads to the 6 stars.
Yes, so just a cup of coffee as we dive between these paper sheets. Let's do this. Alrighty, welcome back to the HARDCOVER podcast. I cannot believe we are making this video. I feel like we just made this video. This is probably close to the most books I've ever read in a year, so I'm very excited for this episode. But before we get started, this is an NS episode. We are going to rank all the books we've read, but we are not going to tell you any plot details about them. So do not worry. There is no spoilers in this, just reflecting on the reading year we've had.
So, the recording date of this very episode is the 24th. It is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, y'all, to all who celebrate. And at this point in the year, I have read 43 books, and our girl Pepe has read 38. So, we're very close to both of our goals. There might be a few more tagged on within the next, 7 days? Hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
there will be, trust me.
Yes. We're going to complete our goals. I'm at 50. Peyton's at 40. Thanks to all y'all. You would have hit your goal by now.
I know. I would have literally hit my goal by now.
Back in January, I think it was if we hit 200 subscribers or something, or maybe 100. I don't know. It was low.
Now there's over 1,000 of you.
Yeah. It was, if we hit it, she'd up it. So that's.
And I did, and here we are.
So, starting at the very bottom of the list, book 43 for me, and I am hoping that it is low on Peyton's list as well. We have Miss JLA, Born of Blood and Ash.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this book, guys.
This is book 10 in the From Blood and Ash series, book 4 in the prequel only Fire in the Flesh series, and I have said that way too many times. This book is as long as a Brandon Sanderson book. It is 1,300 pages of smut and nothing else.
Yep.
This series we would have recommended to you once upon a time as an amazing series. The prequel series started off 5-star reads. It was great. It was romantic-y. It was fun. It was sexy. It was innovative. This book was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah, it was not a good book.
1 star for me. What did you give it?
I gave it 2.
2. That's generous. Next, for 42, for me, I have The List. This was a book club book. It was supposed to be giving feminism. It was supposed to be giving Me Too movement. And it actually gave the opposite of all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even respect the attempt, because here's the thing, is that then if you listen to the interview at the end of the book.
That was the best part of the book.
Best part. It's the only part I would recommend. She was talking about how she wanted the theme of the book to be around anonymity online and what that means and who do you believe and cancel culture. But then she chose to frame the book around the Me Too movement, which made it that at this point we can't justify sexual abusers, and that's kind of what the book was doing.
It felt like a bad book, but it was so hard to listen to that interview afterwards, because it was just so amazing. It's what happened? What happened? Girl, what? All right.
41 and 40, we're going to do this as a double, because for me, that's how I feel about them. We have Reckless and Powerful, the Lauren Roberts plagiarism series.
They came out this year.
I'm sorry. Keep your fingers off the keyboards. It's okay.
Fingers off the keys. Yeah.
If you're new here, these books didn't hit for me. I think the writing's bad. I think the storytelling is stolen. And if you want more on that, we have a whole podcast episode where I go really deep into this. I think Lauren Roberts is an amazing girl. I think she is so funny.
Love Lauren.
I love hearing her speak. The banter in this made me want to pull my eyes out. You know what I mean? It was bad. And I thought the novella would be better, and it wasn't. So that's life.
That's part of it.
39. For me, I have Winter in Paradise. This is an Ellen Hildebrand book. We are fantasy girls, so it was already a red flag going into it. I think my book review describes this perfectly. This was another book club pick, if you can't tell. A lot of the book club picks are going to be at the
Wait,
bottom here.
there at the bottom.
But my review was the author is 55, and you can tell. Derogatory.
You can tell.
You can tell.
It's derogatory.
Men are horrible. Like the worst men you've ever seen in your life. And one girl from book club said, "Hey, like that's the point. Like Ellen got cheated on, and so she writes horrible men." And I was like, "Well, I don't want to like they icked
If
me
I
out."
got cheated on, I would want to write great men.
But here's the thing: is if you write horrible men and then they face horrible consequences for their actions, slay. She wrote horrible men who then like
Get the girl.
get to have sex on the beach. Like I don't understand. Like we're kind of like romanticizing these horrible men, Ellen.
Got it.
38. We are getting close to where Peyton will be joining in on this
I'm
conversation.
pointing right here, girl.
Oh yeah, you do have a 38. Oh, what's your 38? You go first.
We got the same 38. Visions of
Oh.
Flesh and Blood. This was the compendium guide to the blood. What is the fuck is it
From
called?
Blood and Ash series.
From Blood and Ash
You already forgot. That's the name of book one.
JLA's like fire in the flesh and all that shit. I don't know. This whole thing, it's like the Bible for the series. Now, this is the difference. There is like the whole like Wikipedia dictionary version of this book. It's in there. But there are stories in this book. And
Yes.
so it does count for your reading goal because you have to read it. But it's a great book to use to reference if you've got some questions. Because, girl, if you decide to read this series, you're going to have some questions along the way. So this book was actually very helpful. We both gave it no rating because there's no plot. It's like a short story. I don't know. It
Like
was
if you're into the From Blood and Ash, there's the stories. Like a lot of them are from Miss Willow's perspective, who is like the smutty author.
yeah.
Poppy loves. So I mean, there were good moments, there were bad moments. I wouldn't have spent my time writing this, but she probably made a lot of money off of it. My one friend was audiobooking the From Blood and Ash series, and it popped up like next in the series, Visions of Flesh and Fire. And I was like, don't. I was like, don't, that's not a real book. And she goes, what? I don't understand. And it says compendium on it, but I'm sure if you like audio, you're just like, clicking the next one. I was like, do not spend your money, do not spend your credits on this.
Compendium guide. Yeah.
I like raced to my bookshelf and like hand it to her, and I was like, look, this is a dictionary. This is a dictionary with some art pieces. Look at it right now. Do not audiobook this.
No, and you know what's so funny, Aubrey, is that
Mhm.
her book titles are so similar. You said Visions of Flesh and Fire, and it's literally Visions of Flesh and Blood. Anyways, we gotta move on. We'll rant forever.
Yes.
37. I have down Born of Blood and Ash. We just talked about that. Rated at 2 stars. Of course, it's down there at the bottom.
Yes. 37 for me. I have another book club book, Tom Lake by Anne Pratchett?
Patchett.
Pratchett.
Mm-hmm.
Pratchett is Terry Pratchett, which is different. This is another book that I think would be great for 50-year-olds.
Yeah, I think this would be at the top of a 50-year-old's list.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. All right, 36. What's yours?
36, I have the Under the Mistletoe collection.
Yeah.
3 stars for me.
I have it a little bit higher, but yeah, that's the brand new. I don't know if you've heard about it. We have a book review of it up. Short story collection that Amazon put out. The first one with Allie Hazelwood slays.
Loved. But the rest just downhill. Not it.
They're not even that Christmassy. That's what I think icks me the both.
Yeah, they're not even that Christmassy.
Uh,
Don't really recommend.
Yeah, 36 for me. I have Kill for Me, Kill for You, another book club pick. It was written by a man, and you can tell. It's a thriller mystery. It was horrible. Genuinely. It was badly written. The women all sucked. Every single man had the like white knight complex. Even like men who brutally murder people are given like the savior treatment and the hero treatment. I hated that shit.
Yep, wasn't it?
No.
We're on 36. Oh my god, I lost. No, we're on 35 now.
So yes, that was my 36. What's your 35?
I'm like catching up to Aubrey here. 35, I have The List.
35 for me, I had The Villa, another book club pick. This is a mystery. It was better. I didn't love it, but it was better.
And then 34, Tom Lake.
Okay. I have One Italian Summer, another book club
I have
book.
to I keep on
You have
looking
the
up, like, do I
physical of
have
that?
Yeah, I didn't hate that book. Okay, so I'm on 33.
Yes.
Romeo and Mr. Bridgerton, 2 stars. Absolutely not.
It's gonna be so high up on my list.
Absolutely not.
So
No, 2
high up on
stars.
my list. Queen
Well,
hates Colin Bridgerton.
I hate Colin Bridgerton. You know, in the Netflix series, I don't even really like him that much, and he's like a forward-thinking, more feminist man. In this book, we went over this. Go watch a review of it. We know that Colin Bridge and the way that who the hell wrote these books? What's her name?
Julia Quinn.
Julia Quinn. She writes a very traditional
Yeah.
historical piece. And I love that. It's just I did not know that going into this book. So imagine my face when I thought I was getting, the Netflix version of Bridgerton, and I was not getting that.
I thought it was camp and fast paced, and my ranking for that will show when we get to it later.
Yeah.
Number 33 for me, I have Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is a memoir. I think if you're a party girl, might be great.
Yeah.
Our book club collectively didn't love it, but I think it might have just been something that we saw was so hyped that our expectations were a little bit too high. I
Absolutely.
actually gave this 4 stars. I think that's because one, I appreciated the writing. It's like, I mean, it's very like conversational writing. It's not like prosy or anything. But also I had just graduated college and I had a creative writing minor, and I read so many memoirs from like the 80s.
This is new.
Yeah. I was like, this is modern. This is amazing.
Yeah, that's so fair. Yeah, and there are some really great things in this book that are
The
important.
last like 3 chapters, I think.
Yeah. Well, and we reviewed this. So if you want to know more in-depth thoughts, we have that. All right. 32 for me was Winter in Paradise by Ellen Hildebrand. I gave this 2 stars. Unlike between Aubrey and I
Mhm.
am the one of the two of us to would probably like this book more than Aubrey, just because I do like a little bit of mystery. I do like, and I've never read an Ellen Hildebrand book before, and I was actually really excited to,
Oh,
because I really wanted to read Hotel Nantucket. Everyone raves about her, and I was like, okay, but her books are just a little bit too long. And so, I was excited, and this just totally let me down. Now, some of our Ellen girls at book club said this is nothing like any of her other books, but I will not probably be picking up any of her books anytime soon, just because my TBR is too long. This was her opportunity, and she flopped. Um,
she tanked it.
she tanked it, so I gave this 2 stars.
32 for me is Lavender House, another book club pick. Sorry, book club girls. This is like LGBTQ plus mystery set in like maybe the 40s. I don't know, vibey times, right?
Yeah, like the 50s, sort of.
Yeah.
I honestly, it could be the 20s or 50s, guys. Who knows? I forget.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It didn't hit for me. Like it was fine. I think at 33, I'm at the point where like I don't hate these books anymore, right? Like I'm moving into the middle of the pack. It was very much like Sherlock Holmes vibes.
Yeah, if anyone here has read Mexican Gothic, I think you would actually really like
Ooh,
Lavender House.
okay.
So, yeah. All right, 31 for me. I'm finally catching up with Aubrey here. I have down, and I'll do this in a pair, 31 and 30 are Reckless and Powerless. I do not have physical copies of these books. And after reading them, I decided, not to.
Yeah, I kind of regret spending my money on this.
It's kind of nice to have, though. So I gave both of these 2 stars. And I have not read any of what people would like to call Lauren Roberts' source material. I have not read like Red Queen, all of that. So I went in completely with new eyes.
Yeah.
And so that'll show probably through my powerless
Mhm.
review. But yeah, Reckless wasn't it.
There's no plot.
You keyboard warriors, calm down. It's okay. It's gonna be fine, sweetheart. All right.
But honestly, even my sister who loves Powerless, she gave Reckless like 4 stars, but she was like, "Yeah, but there was no plot." Girl, then why is it 4 stars?
Girl, why is it 4
You're
stars?
lying. You're lying. Okay. 31 for me. I have the Under the Mistletoe collection. I liked it a little bit more. I like Smut a little bit more than Peyton. But again, the Allie Hazel one, I would give 5 stars. The Tessa
Yes.
Bailey one, I'd give 2 stars, maybe 1 star. The rest sat at a solid 3. It was short. It was fine. 30 for me, I did Dawn Shard by Brandon Sanderson. This is a cute little novella. I gave it 4 stars. So it's low because novellas don't hold the weight that books do. This is like considered 3.5 in the Stormlight archive. You don't have to read it. I think it's so cute. I love like
That
having
is
it.
so sweet.
But it was fine. It was
It was good. All right,
fine.
29 for me is Everything I Know About Love. We just talked about this. I gave it 3 stars. And I recommend reading the beginning and I recommend reading the end.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge party girl, but I feel like if I lived that kind of like tumultuous, like free thinking in my 20s lifestyle, this book is like a conversation with your crazy older sister who
Yeah.
has been around the block. So that's 3 stars for me.
29 for me is How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories. This is a Cruel Prince novella. I have the beautiful Litjoy copies.
It's so pretty.
So stunning. There's art. I read this because I liked Holly Black and because I needed a short book to bump my Goodreads number up. I gave this 5 stars. Like I have no critiques of this. It felt like a storybook. It felt like a wicked children's story. I really liked the pacing. I love the art. Obviously, but again, it's a novella. There's only so much a novella can do for you.
It's true. Novellas don't. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So it's crazy to put a 5-star read at 29, but it's not even my
But
top 20. But
yeah,
you know,
absolutely, girl.
it
Absolutely.
got perfect for what it was. I enjoyed other books more.
28 for me is Kill for Me, Kill for You, book club book. We just went over this.
Hmm.
Um, couldn't fully get invested in this book until I actually picked it up and started reading it. That's a thing for me, I guess. So 3 stars. I gave that book 3 stars.
Yes. Peyton also had some wild theories about like the
That were
government
not
and the
true, but I was
and
just thinking about that. I was like,
it's
oh,
so funny in book club. She's going off. She's like, and this will connect to this, and this will connect to this, and all of the girls collectively are looking at her like,
huh? And I'm like, just you wait. And I'm like, I can't go to the last meeting. I'm so wrong.
yeah, she was not right. Okay, 28 for me. I'm sorry.
You're middle of the list, girl. You're allowed to put that there.
That's true. You know what? I am well, middle-ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. House of Flame and Shadow by Miss Sarah J. Moss. Listen, I love the hype for this book. I loved going to the midnight release party for this book. I love the
Yeah.
community and the excitement for this book. I hated this book. Genuinely, I gave it 3 stars. I think looking back, it could have been a 2.5 almost. There was character assassination in this book. A third of this book was from a character's POV that nobody cares about and was just basically an ad for a potential book 4. The best part of this book is the twist that happens at the end of the other book that I will not mention at the moment, but if you know,
Yeah.
you know, you probably know at this point.
That's it. This felt kind of like the Avengers
Yes,
uh,
literally.
series. And so that's why if we give it any praise, that's why. All right, 27 for me was Lavender House. That was the Sherlock Holmesy book.
Yes.
Really cool cover. Cool story. Uh love our gay main character. He is literally so freaking cool. The setting, the vibe, it all. Book club book 27 gave it 4 stars.
I
Surprised.
think I gave it.
I'm surprised I gave it 4 stars, but I
Yeah.
must have enjoyed it enough. So yeah, 4 stars, guys.
4 stars. Honestly, we probably just were like, all of these book club books have tanked so bad. It's June. We need a win, and like
Yeah,
gave it a higher rating just to
that's
feel
probably
good
so
about
true.
ourselves. 27 for me is another book club book. I'm assuming this is going to be higher up on Peyton's list, but I have down here 27 Remarkably Bright Creatures. I think it's a solid middle of the pack book. It deals with found family and grief and loss. There is an amazing octopus character, Marcellus.
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 He's
I
sassy.
thought this book was like very grounding.
Yeah.
One character was the most annoying, whiny man you've ever met.
Yes. But the old lady Marcellus really like carried this book.
Yes, carried. There were really sweet moments. There were less sweet moments. I think if this is your genre, go for it. But if you're not someone who typically picks up lit fic from the shelves, I'd stay away. I gave it 4 stars.
Fair enough. 26. I
26.
have The Villa. Did you
Okay.
already rate this? Yeah, you already did.
Yeah, but I didn't
The
really get
Villa, it's like a dual timeline murder mystery sort of situation. You kind of uncover a lot as you go along. I gave The Villa 3 stars.
fair. All right, 26 for me. I have Queen Charlotte. This is the based off of the Netflix show, okay? So, Julia Quinn wrote all of the Bridgerton books way back when, like in the early 2000s. But then when Shonda Rhimes did the spin-off of Queen Charlotte and her backstory, Julia Quinn, after the show was written, went back and wrote this book. It's identical to the TV show, which means one, it's more feminist, which is great. And two, like really it was just getting an insight of like what the characters are thinking during the scenes, or
Also, a
sometimes
great money grab.
yeah, sometimes we'd linger in a scene like a little bit longer than it did in the TV show, or will come in before the TV show comes in. So you get like almost like bonus content. This is bonus content for the TV show. It was a simple read. I gave it 3 stars.
Shonda Rhimes and Julia Quinn getting their extra bag,
As they
you
should.
know, as they should. All right, so number 25 for me was One Italian Summer. And I gave that 3 stars as well. The One Italian Summer and The Villa, in my mind, are like grouped together because we read them
Yeah.
back to back.
Mhm.
But I liked One Italian Summer a bit more than The Villa. And oh my god, Aubrey and I have them like the same way. I just did Aubrey's list because she had the oh my
Yeah.
god, we like oh my god, that's so crazy. I'm like
That's
looking at
insane.
our list.
We're
Yeah.
both like they gave the exact same vibe.
Yeah, they gave the same vibe. Yeah. A villa in like Italy and yeah. So, anyways, One Tally Summer, 3 stars. Cool.
Cool. 25 for me, I have The Sunlit Man by Brandon Sanderson. This is considered to be, by Brandon Sanderson, book 4.5 in the Stormlight Archive. This was part of his iconic Kickstarter project, with Tress of the Emerald Sea kicking off the Kickstarter and Sunlit Man finishing it up. This is like Doctor Who, but in the Cosmere.
It
I
looks
thought
like
it
it.
was
It's
I
great.
thought it was cute. I thought it was fine. I thought like I'm not really a sci-fi girly, but I appreciated what was done. I appreciated the Cosmere connections. I didn't like reading the word blue jeans in my fantasy book.
Yeah.
I know it's sci-fi, but like it's Stormlight Archive. Stormlight Archive is epic fantasy, and I don't think you should read it between Rhythm of War and Wind and Truth. As someone who hasn't read Wind and Truth yet, I'm sorry if you don't know these books. This is just a little side note. Um, this happens after book 5 of the Stormlight Archive. I don't know why we were told to read it before book 5, except for the fact that it was published before 5, and he wasn't going to tell people not to read his book.
Yeah, that's fair. 24 for me is a book I actually just recently listened to. It was
Ooh.
an Amazon exclusive deal with Ali Hazelwood. It's called Two Can Play. I gave it 4 stars. I really recommend this, especially if you're trying to bump up your reading goal at the end of the year. It's basically two video game engineers that the thing is what pisses you off, but it is like a short story. There's a huge miscommunication between the two of them, and they are enemies, like arch nemesis. Basically, they go on this holiday vacation with two. They work for two different game software companies, and the two gameware software companies go on this like company retreat because they're going to be working on this big video game that's coming out next year,
Yeah.
and it's such a big video game that they hired both companies to work on it together. So they're trying to do some like team bonding situations.
Allie Hazelwood loves forced proximity.
So yeah, so they're forced together, which just builds like and of course it's like a snowy cabin, like think like Big Bear in California, like snowed in together with all these other like personalities and people. And she's the whole thing is just like, why does this guy hate me? Like I literally did nothing to him. And there's like a little bit of like backstory, and I don't know. It's such a cute, quick read. Allie Hazelwood always slays. And women in STEM.
Women in STEM. That's on my TBR. I plan to be listening to that between today and the end of the year.
Yes, it's so, and they were having a mega sale and it was like $4 on
So
Audible. So like highly recommend.
And that is so perfect because my number 24 is also an Allie Hazelwood book
Woo!
with Bride. This was her dipping her toes into fantasy. It's more like paranormal, supernatural fantasy. Like it's very urban. It's your classic werewolf, vampire, human clans where a vampire is forced to marry a werewolf for an alliance. But of course, they hate one another. And the last time this happened, it was like a bloody massacre, but it's a
Yes.
romance, so they're going to be together.
I love Brett.
And this taught us about new kinks.
Yeah. Thanks,
If you
Allie.
know, you know. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it once I was into it, but the first 40 pages I couldn't stand. For the life of me, I couldn't. I wanted to DNF the book. I think I was just adjusting into that contemporary
Yeah.
romance, Allie Hazelwood writing style. Because I was like, oh, this is fantasy. And I went in with fantasy expectations, and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. No, you
Yeah.
can't. You can't do that. And that's why these books usually rank higher compared to our fantasy books. We're a little bit harder on our fantasy books. Um, 23, I have
Yes.
another Christmassy holiday
Ooh.
book for everyone. I
Mhm.
read The Holiday Hideaway. That
Okay.
title is so clever. Basically, it's about a girl and her dog. There's a very, very cute dog in this book. And
Oh.
she just got out of a very abusive marriage. And she is works in like vacation rentals real estate. And there's this huge house. This guy that sucks just died who owned it. And so she's like, all right, well, it's the holidays. Christmas is in 4 days. I have nowhere to go. I'm gonna go live in this house, basically squat in this house just for the holiday season until I can, get back on my feet. And she has an apartment lined up she's gonna move into, but she just needs a house literally for like a week.
She's like, I need
Oh,
a home.
of course, she loads all of her groceries into the house, and it's falling apart but beautiful. Blah blah blah. Her and her little puppy dog, and then this guy shows up into the driveway.
Of course.
And so she runs up into the attic, and turns out that the house was passed down to his grandchildren or nieces or nephews. I
Yeah.
forget necessarily what it is. And this guy from like the city comes and is like staying there to basically see like what's up with the house. Like, should we put it on the market? Blah blah blah. So this he gets in and he's like, oh, like someone left groceries for me, and like, oh, like there's
How
a car in
sweet.
the back. So he calls the real estate agent of the house and it's like, hey, like what's going on? And she's upstairs in the attic the whole time in this book. Basically, she can like see him like,
Yeah.
so it's this just like sort of, once again there's like this forced
Cute.
proximity, and he has a sucky girlfriend, and obviously like I don't know, it's a really cute holiday story. And I read this right after I read the Under the Mistletoe collection, the short
Mhm.
stories, and this was like a breath of fresh fucking air. I was like, this is what I want out of my holiday stories.
Yes.
Absolutely love this one. I gave it 4 stars. Two Can Play that I just mentioned about by Allie Hazelwood and this one are like neck and neck. Loved. Highly recommend.
So cute. Number 23 for me, I have Heartless Hunter. I actually just got the copy of this book from a book club girl during our Christmas exchange. So, super excited to be able to like hold it up. I gave Heartless Hunter 4 stars. This is like a witch and a witch hunter being forced to like work together, and they both think that they're like trying to like skeeve each other out to figure out who they are. It's very cute. I just wish a little bit more time would have taken place on the book, because obviously I don't think this is really a spoiler. Like, when these characters are like falling in love with one another because it's a romantasy. Like the book takes place over like 3 days,
It's
and
really hard to get
that's
past
so
that.
hard at the end when they're like when the plot pops off and things are happening and you're supposed to believe that they like in 3 days fall in love. I'm just like, you can just tell us that a month has passed.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
You
we
know what I
went through
mean?
that with something else we both read recently. I'm like,
Yes.
"Just say a month has passed to make us feel better about ourselves," and, like, wanting that.
That's my biggest, like, nitpick, my biggest ick in books
Yeah,
is when it's so easy to just say that more time has passed. Like, you dedicate 1 sentence to it, make it make sense with your plot. Like, I don't think it's that hard to add that narrative distance to make us feel better about plot things. So, I don't know. I liked it, but whatever.
Alright, number 22 for me
Yes.
is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. So, you know, for all of you people that hate on us for hating Reckless, Powerless is all the way up here. So Powerless is at 22 for me, and I gave that 3 stars. I enjoyed it. The main character's name is Peyton, which is very close to Peyton. And that doesn't really happen a lot in my life, and so I was really excited. I
Yeah.
think she's a really badass character. I really loved the ending of this book. It's obviously just not my favorite, but so I gave that. Yeah, I said that like 3 stars. Yeah,
Yeah, 3 stars. That's good.
3 stars.
I finished Powerless on December 31st last year, which is why it's not in this video for me. So, if you were expecting it to come at, like, number 10, it's not coming. I just finished it a little bit earlier. Okay, 22 for me, I have Rabbit Heart. This is another memoir. This was actually written by a professor of mine, and I think that this story is so, like, heartbreakingly beautiful. It is about obviously memoir, so this is nonfiction. This is a true story. Her mother, when she was young, was kidnapped in a mall parking lot, and then bad things happened to her that I can't say on the internet and left for dead. And it's about how you, as the daughter, grow up with that surrounding you, how that affects your love life, how that affects fear, how that, shapes everything. And then also, once she's an adult, is when the case was cold and they never got justice for her mother's killers until much later in the life. And so it shows like her as young, her as a teenager, and her as an adult kind of wrestling with what the
Yes,
fuck do you do when something this horrible happens.
absolutely.
And so it's feminist. I think that it's beautiful. I think everyone should read it. It's a very hard read. So, I mean, triggers.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I'm excited to read that one. It's an important read, and how
Yeah.
courageous of her to write about it.
And a local author for anyone in
Yeah,
the Philly area.
absolutely. All right. Switching gears. Well, actually, not really. 21. My book 21 is Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is
Okay.
centered
Yeah.
around grief.
Mhm.
I gave this 3 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It was on my TBR regardless of book club.
Yes.
So I was excited that book club gave me a reason to read it. I think that this book would speak volumes to someone who has lost a parent or a spouse or
Yeah,
anyone.
someone significant.
It's not a deep dive into grief in the way that it's like really sad. It's just this like overarching like what is family, found family, connection, how grief is just an extension of all the leftover love you have for someone. It's not necessarily a sad thing, it can be celebrated. And so I love Remarkably Bright Creatures, and I love Merciless the Octopus because he is fat and sassy, and I love him.
Listen to his chapters. It was amazing.
Yes.
21 for me, I have Quicksilver by Callie Hart. This is a indie published fantasy book that is getting traditionally published and coming out again next year. The audiobook just came out for this one. If you guys are fantasy girlies, you know what the fuck's up with this book. I ranked it where it is. It's a romantasy. It follows our main girl, Saris, as she's taken from this like sci-fi universe where she's like bottom of the fucking barrel, poor. And then she steals something and she almost dies and then is transported into this Fey realm where she has to work with like the top fae, like princes and government and whatever, to try to help them on the Fae's war with Fae versus vampires. It's a lot. It has such like epic proportions to it. There's a lot of stuff that I love about this book. It was too long. It was overwritten.
It
I
was.
had to skim a lot of it. I think if we would have taken out 200 pages, I think that like what I just said, this how it starts in sci-fi and then moves into the fae, that's 200 pages. 200
Mhm.
pages
200
to
pages
get
of that.
into the story. And I think that's ridiculous. I hope honestly, I don't think it will be, but if I was her editor getting it traditionally published, I would be cutting. I would be
I'm
yes,
excited to
mommy.
read the second one now because she's being traditionally published.
Yes.
So,
Maybe it'll be a little shorter.
yeah, a little shorter. A little bit shorter.
I just don't think every word was worth it, but I think the story was really good. So,
Oh, absolutely. My next book,
yes.
20, we're in the top 20 now. I have The Do-Over by, oh my god, what's her name again? Lynn Painter. This was my Lynn Painter year. So yeah, so The Do-Over, basically shorter book if anyone wants a little book to read at the end of the year here. The Do-Over is the best way I can describe it is living the same day over and over and over again.
Wow.
And hence the name The Do-Over. So because she just lives her life the same day over and over and over again. It's a really shitty day too. And so it's a really cute book. And I gave it 4 stars.
Cute. Love it. Top 20 for me book lovers is an M. Hem book. This is, you know what I mean. It's a romance book. It's like a girl who describes herself as like the woman, as like this person that the main character in a Hallmark movie would leave. Like, you know, like the bad boyfriend in the city. She's the bad girlfriend in the city to go on their little small town adventure. But then she's put in a small town adventure
Yep.
is the premise. Okay, it's cute. I like unlikable female characters, which is why I think I liked this book a little bit more than some people. It's typically ranked fairly low on the MHEM scale. I think people usually put it at their bottom.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was cute. Easy read.
Yeah, Book Lovers is good. I read that in 2021, I think. Love. Um, no, 2022. Sorry. I don't know. All right. 19, everyone. I just finished this book. I finished this book. This is a 400 plus page book. I finished it in 2 days.
Ooh, has to be
So
good.
that has to mean something, right? This is Variation by Rebecca Yarros. That's right, Rebecca
Ooh.
Yarros, who wrote Fourth Wing. I've read one of her contemporary novels before. This is my second one. And I said, we've been doing a book vlog. And in the book vlog, I was like, a lot of girls have Colleen Hoover. I have Rebecca Yarros. Like, for some reason, her writing just fucking has a chokehold on me.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't love about this book is the main love interest, the guy. Sometimes he would describe the woman in a way I was like, no, I don't want to be in a man's head.
I didn't see that.
And I'm like, no. I was like, you didn't say that. But it follows a ballerina and a
Ooh.
man in the Coast Guard. All of her contemporary romance novels, the male is always in some sort of like armed service or so
That's her
this guy's in the
husband
Coast Guard. And so they met when they were kids at their like lake houses, and then like time like 10 years goes by and there's this tragic event that happens, and it's a long book. I was so surprised, but like it's a good book. I
is.
really enjoyed it. I don't care about the Coast Guard. I mean, like, thank you everyone in the Coast Guard, but like I don't know anyone in the Coast Guard. So
Yeah.
I'm like, and I damn well know I don't have any association to ballerinas. So like this is like it wasn't even like I saw myself in this ballerina
Yeah.
character. She goes into like the aspects of what it takes to be a ballerina, but then also on the flip side, him being in the Coast Guard, like being in the water and like
Yeah.
putting your life on the line to save people and blah blah blah. I really enjoyed it. It was a really cute story. Yeah, it was a good at this time of year too because we wanted to feel a little like romancy, cozy. I really enjoyed it. Oh, and it's on KU. You can listen to it and read it. It has
Ooh,
that. I love that dual feature on KU when it's like we're gonna get the audiobook and the book and the ebook. So then when you listen to it, it goes right to where you are in the. I love it, and I think that's why I read it so fast.
19 for me, I have a Dowry of Blood. This is opposite vibes of what Peyton just described. This is very, very heavy in the literary community. Okay, this is like the prosiest shit I read all year. But it is the story of Dracula's first wife. What I love about this is it is written in second person, and so it is Count Dracula's wife talking to Dracula. So everything is addressed like letters to him, but we never say his name. We do not give him that power. Okay? Okay. I love a little bit feminist. And it takes you through the times of like before the Black Plague, when it's like they don't even give a date to it, but like, you know, way, way, way back to pretty, I think by the epilogue, I think they were wearing jeans. You know what I mean? Like this was like modern day. They met at a coffee shop. Okay. So this is a vampire, very heavy literary fiction. It's got like a little bit of spice to it, which I wasn't expecting. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. It's super short. It just took me a while to read because I just kept like some of the chapters will be like 3 sentences, and I'll be like, oh, chapter done.
Yeah, right. You feel like you're getting through the book. He's like, no, you gotta like read the pages.
Yeah, no, you gotta like just strap in. Like I think you could have read it in a day, and I just did it.
I remember you talking about that book this year, and I was like, I'm really, but I forgot the name of it. Now I remember it. What a cool title too.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 18 for me. This was like I think the first book we read of the year. Or one
Ooh.
of them
Oh
at
yeah.
least.
Mhm.
I put down for my 18, Ruthless Vows. I finally have some books to show. 4 stars I gave this. This is the second in the letters.
It's Divine Rivals book 2.
Yeah,
Letters of
Letters of Enchantment. That's what it is. So I gave this 4 stars, guys, because I didn't really like Divine Rivals, but I love Ruthless Vows. Love, love, love. And so yeah, I'm happy that it like bumped up my list more.
Yeah, it's so cute. This is like fantasy for historical fiction girls.
Yeah.
Very light on the fantasy. More in this book, more in book 2 for sure. You probably already know about it. It's prosy, it's cute, it's higher up on my list. 18 for me, I have Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. This is levels higher than where our girl Payne has this book.
Yeah.
I listen, after I got like 50 pages into this book, I just finished the book in one day. Like I just there's something addicting in here. It's cringy as hell. It's camp. It's got the sensibilities of someone actually in the 1800s that kind of feels gross at times when it's like the man and you're like you're not the man. But I don't know. It was a good time for me. I like the TV show more though, of course.
Yeah, TV show slaps. So weird to be like, just watch the TV show, don't read the book.
We do have a review up for the book and comparing the book to the TV show. So if you've only watched the TV show, you don't want to read the book. We have a whole video out there talking about like what you might have missed.
You're welcome. The next 3 guys, just you're gonna have to hold tight with me.
Ooh.
17.
Okay.
I have Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel
Okay.
in the Throne of Glass series. I read Throne of Glass last year, so we're picking up here with Assassin's Blade. I gave this 3 stars. Yep. I got one. There's gonna be more where that comes from, but yeah, I gave it 3 stars.
Okay, perfect. Next up, 17. I have what I voted for as the Goodreads Choice Awards. A Fate Inked in Blood. This is a Norse mythology romantasy. I thought the writing was very good in this. Without being prosy, like without being pretentious at all, I thought the magic system was unique. I thought the romance could have been better. I think if you've read a lot of romantasy, the romance is nothing special. I think if this is one of your first romantasies, it's gonna rock your world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'm excited for the next one, and the cover is sexy as hell.
Yeah, that is a really cool cover. I usually don't like people on my covers, but I love that one. All right, number 16.
Dun, 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 dun.
We got Crown of Midnight. Yeah, so this is the second book after Throne of Glass. Gave this 4 stars. Everyone always shits on Crown of Midnight, but I actually really liked it, and I was surprised. But I think what made me like it is the ending.
16 for me. I have Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. This was my first thriller mystery-esque
This is
book.
higher than I thought you'd rank it.
I know. I really liked it. Well, I liked it for what it was. I think that I have the only one left so high up on my TBR. I would love to read that one. I know that is his crown jewel. I thought this was eerie and creepy. It's about like a boy back at his parents' house in his like 30s, but when he was a child, he was camping in his backyard with his friend when the friend went missing or dead or whatever. He woke up and the friend was gone. And like you think maybe the friend's haunting him, and it like kind of
It's
like
paranormal.
yeah,
Going
it like sits
crazy.
like kind of on the edge of like what is going on. It was very eerie. I think what worked for this is that it was so true to home. Like it's just a guy in a neighborhood,
In a
right?
cul-de-sac.
Right. So like it felt like this could happen to me in a way that I
Yep.
think some thrillers where you're like people getting slashed in the elevator. I'm like that's not happening to me.
Yeah, and the only one left is more like that. It feels more like fantastical than this felt like, "Oh, wow, okay."
Yeah. It was a little close. It was a little
Yeah.
close. So, yeah, I thought it was good.
Alright, number 15 for moi. We're gonna
15.
carry on here. Air Fire. Um, 5. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. If you don't know what the Throne of Glass series is, it's epic fantasy. And that's all you need to know.
Yeah, it's really long.
There's no way to describe the plot. But Throne of Glass is where you start.
Yes.
15 for me, I have a very recent review up on the podcast. Air by Saba Tahir. This is another epic fantasy story. This is set in the world of the Ember and the Ashes, which we didn't know
We did
when
not.
we started this. But that's fine. It felt like as someone who didn't read those books that there were some inside jokes that I might have been missing out on. There was some Easter eggs that I didn't get, but I knew that they were Easter eggs. You could tell. But overall, I really liked this. Saoirse, I love that character. It follows like 3 different characters, and you don't really know what's going on in part 1. But once you get to the end of part 1, like POV start colliding, a plot starts making sense. There's a magical killer on the loose, and we have to hunt them. I like
Alright, I'm following up Aubrey, not with Air. That's on its way.
it.
But 14, I have A Faint Inked by Blood. I give it 4 stars. Really
Okay.
enjoyed this. I totally agree that if this is your first entrance into like romantasy, like you're gonna eat this up.
Yay. Hmm.
Personally, like it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not even necessarily looking forward to the next one. I just, you know, like it's here. She's here. She's beautiful. I enjoyed the like this is not like a fantasy story you typically read because we don't see Norse mythology in fantasy stories a lot. And so this was fun. You usually see sort of like Greek inspired things or dragons. And so, but if dragons show up in this shit, I'm so down.
But I also wouldn't oppose
Well,
dragons.
like dragons? Anyway, so yeah, I gave this 4 stars.
Slay. Number 14 for me, I have Wayward by Amelia Hart. This is a historical fiction that airs on the side of witchy. It follows 3 different generations of women as they kind of go through life and get a connection to nature and earth. And it has heavy themes on like the struggles of women, including sexual abuse. Uh, One of the characters is literally on a witch trial. This is so beautifully written, so prosy. I'm so glad I read it. It was very, very hard read for me. And we have a review up. I did not rate this book, but I'm sure it's higher up on Peyton's list.
Yes.
So she can
It's
talk
on
more.
its way.
It's on its way. 13.
Yeah, 13. I don't have much to say about this. I have House of Flame and Shadow. I gave this 3 stars. I enjoyed reading this. I enjoyed the community. I remember reading on my Kindle and getting excited, so I need to give it its flowers for that. It just obviously wasn't, it's probably my least favorite Sarah J. Maas book, but I really enjoyed, you know, some crossover situations and it was fun and yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. I didn't feel that, but I get it. Number 13 for me, I have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. Opposite of Peyton, I think I like Divine Rivals a little bit more. She liked Ruthless Vows a little bit more. But overall, I think that this is a good fantasy story. Well, not fantasy, but historical fiction. I liked the vibes. I liked the romance. It was good. It was cute. 4 stars.
My number 12, I'm wrapping it back with Air. We just did a book review on this, so please, please go watch it. We do have non-spoiler sections in every review, so if you just want a
Yes.
little tidbit, but yeah, Air. I'm really happy it made it up to,
I
top
was
20.
surprised that yours was higher than mine. I thought I liked it a little bit more, but I guess not.
Yeah, you just got more books than me, so you had to you had to mix them around. But yeah, Air. I'm excited for the next one, and I love that it's a duology and not a really long series. 3.5 I gave this.
I am going to do my number 12 and number 11 together because it is book 3 and 4 of the Stormlight Archive. These are fat books, and I have the little
So
Urgings, and I still
big.
can't hold them. They're like the biggest thing ever. If you don't know what the Stormlight Archive is, this is what Sunlit Man and Don Chard were a part of. It is Brandon Sanderson's legacy series. It is epic, epic, epic fantasy. It's so cool. It is the return of magic to a world and big battles and fun, like very unique magic system, very unique planet. Love it. Vibes all around. They're so, so long. And they're worth it, but they're really like they take forever to read. I liked Oathbringer a little bit more than Rhythm of War. Yes, that is how I have it listed.
And you're like, I want to make sure.
I read Oathbringer at the beginning of the year and Rhythm of the War at the end of the year.
All right, I do not have the next book, but my number 11 is House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, as Aubrey just showed us. This book takes place, as you can guess, by a lake, and it's basically, imagine you're living in a house. You are a alcoholic. uh I think she was an actress back in the day. Anyways, and she looks across the lake at this beautiful big lake house, and she's has her binoculars. She's like watching this very famous couple and sees some shit she's like not okay with. This book gets like weirdly paranormal, and I don't know. Riley Sager is just such an interesting writer. Haley Pham, which if you're in the book community, you know about her. This is her favorite Riley Sager book. My cousin
Wow.
Lane read it. He liked this one. I'm like, guys, the only one left is the only option for everybody's favorite. Like, this is not okay. Because this book, like, sometimes the way Riley Sager writes a woman is just kind of like, no, Riley, no,
Isn't this
no.
the sexist one?
Yeah,
Like
like,
erring on the side of
yeah, yeah. It's just like, no, no. So, but I read this while at a lake, and that was really fun. And so I gave this 4 stars. Enjoyed it. And then I'll catch up to you, Aubrey, because we already
yes.
went over this one. My number 10 was Bride by Ellie Hazelwood.
Right. Where's your top 10?
I loved Bride, and I really enjoyed reading this book, and I gave that 4 stars.
That's amazing. You know what? I want to give my favorite thing about Bride is that we only see the male love interest POV in the epigraphs, and I think that was perfect. You
So
got like
romantic.
you
Ah,
don't have to sit in his head. You don't have there's no grossness of like a male POV. It was just like little snippets, and I love that.
I
That's
love
lit.
it.
Number 10 for me. I have a book that I've been talking about a good amount in the past couple months. Found this from our Goodreads fantasy releases video, and I haven't shut up about it since. I have Immortal Dark by Takis Kurma. Peyton's gonna read this next October.
I think I'm getting it for Christmas from my fiance. So.
Ooh, it's the
I
cover.
had it in my hand at Target and I put it down. I was like, no, I don't need it. And then I think he went back and took a picture of it so he could go.
That's oh my god. You know what just happened to me? I was at Target and I want to read Bright over Bloodhaven. I've been talking about it at book club. I've been talking about how much I want to read this book. And at Target, they had it 30% off with red sprayed edges. And so
I saw it.
I picked it up. I bought it. We're in the Target, like we're walking around Target in the checkout line, and Jacob's like, "Don't you think it's a little crazy to be buying a book at Christmas time?" And I was like, "No, I never put this like on a Christmas list or anything." I was like, "It's fine. Like no one knows about this. It's a book that I want. It's 30% off. The sprayed edges. Da da da." He's like, "I just think it's crazy that you're buying a book at Christmas time." And I was like, it's fine. It's fine." And he's like on his phone. He's like, "It won't load. It won't load. It won't load." And I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" He bought it for me. He's such a sweet, kind, loving
He's
husband.
listening.
He looked at my Goodreads to purposely pick a book that he knew I wanted to read and didn't own yet, and he bought it but then I bought it. He was like, the thing wouldn't load. He goes, so I don't know if I got the sprayed edges version or not. And I was like, well, then I'm buying this Target one. I'm sorry.
I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh. That's
Also,
so funny. And they had the Immortal Dark sprayed edges at Target too. And I was like, I want the sprayed edges.
yeah, it's so
Anyway, so yes, this one I'm excited to read.
This is a black dark academia vampire book. It deals with themes of like absolution and evil and like kind of giving Catholic vibes if you have religious trauma. I don't That's not what the book's like trying to give, but that's
Oh,
kind of like
great.
where
I was
I
raised
sit.
Catholic.
I'm not a Catholic. I don't know. It's just like when you're talking about like what is truly evil and justice and stuff like that, like it was just giving Catholic. I don't know. But I really liked this book. The female main character is unlikable. She's a little bit of a villain. She like you start the book and she's like losing her mind because she just killed someone. Okay, we're going there. I loved it.
Oh. All right, I can zoom past my next one, number 9. I did Quicksilver, and I gave it 4
Okay.
stars. Reflecting back, this book is way too long. But I really enjoyed it.
You did. You liked it a lot more. And you know what? You found it and you were the one who wanted to read it. And I think sometimes that shapes. I think sometimes like I was like reading it and then once second it's bad, I'm like, oh, Peyton picked a stupid book.
Yeah, like, that's what I felt about Air. I was like, dude, why are we reading this book? It's so long and so boring. Yeah.
Exactly. And then once it picks up, you're like, okay, no, this is good.
Yeah.
But okay, number 9 for me, I have, and I've talked about this a lot, Fatebreaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is book 3 in the Realmbreaker trilogy. The trilogy can be described as like Lord of the Rings meets Guardians of the Galaxy. It is such a good story. I particularly love there was a villain romance in this book series, and the villain girl like owns my heart. I won't say her name because it's a little bit of a twist for book 1 if you haven't read it yet. But I love where Victoria went with this series. I felt like it very much is giving epic fantasy and giving Lord of the Rings vibes for a modern, like also female audience. Like there's no fucking girls in Lord of the Rings. And so having this be like 50% girls was amazing. So this was really good. And I loved the one character.
All right, my number 8 book is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love this book. It hops back and forth in time, but long story short, it's about a woman named Emma who marries her high school sweetheart. And this guy she had a crush on all through high school. They get together. They move to LA. They get married. They live this life. They travel the world together. She's a travel journalist, and he also works in the entertainment industry as well. He goes on a helicopter, crashes, dies, left for dead, whatever. She's heartbroken, goes fucking wild in her head, and moves back home and finds this guy that used to work at her parents' bookstore, and they get talking and they get engaged. And then she receives a call from her husband. Hey babe, I'm alive.
Whoops.
I love you. After 2 years of being gone, and then the story unravels. So who will she choose? Who is her one true love? Blah blah blah. This book was awesome. I read this in like a week and a weekend, and it was so good. So good.
Sounds good. That's another one
Yeah,
that
I
think I would love to pick up. Okay, number 8 for me, I have Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is my last
so
Brandon Sanderson book. I really committed to this author this year, and it's a man, even more surprising. This is book 2 in the Mistborn trilogy. If you haven't heard of it yet, Mistborn is popping off on TikTok. So much so that Mistborn just hit the USA Today bestsellers list, which it never did like when the book came out back in like 2006 or something. So that's crazy. It is a fantasy heist. It has a super unique magic system that you've never heard of before. And this is book 2. So it deals with the aftermath of everything that happened in book 1. I'd really recommend if you're thinking about reading Brandon Sanderson, Mistborn is generally where you would start to get Brandon Sanderson vibes. Trust of the Emerald Sea is an amazing book, but it doesn't give like normal Brandon Sanderson vibes. And I actually had Jacob on the podcast back in September to kind of talk about the different places you can start for Brandon Sanderson as a girly if you're interested.
Alrighty, number 7 for me, I actually gave it to my Nana because I felt like she would love this book.
Oh.
It's Wayward by Amelia Hart. She's reading it right now, and we were just gossiping about it the other day. We went over this already in the podcast, but I gave this 4 stars. This was my second favorite book club book of the year, maybe first,
Ooh.
maybe first. Um, but it's really tied with this other one I'm going to talk about after Aubrey. But yeah, so Wayward, 4 stars, love it. Witches, natural witches, I guess, historical fiction, I guess, trauma, hard read, but a great story nonetheless. Great writing. Congrats, Amelia Hart, on your debut novel.
Number 7 for me, and I'm sure is much higher on Peyton's, though we're in this top 7, so I don't know how.
Yeah, go Aubrey. This was my book club. This was our pick, my pick, and it's high on your list. I'm here for it.
I know, just saying that I don't like. Sometimes you're like, oh, someone else's pick. This was a Peyton pick. She read this book, and I picked it up for when I was going to the beach, and I actually really fell in love with it. Maybe not as much as Peyton, but I loved this. This is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. It is like an early 2000s nostalgic high school romance that I really, really enjoyed, and I will let Peyton talk about it more when it gets to her.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Speaking of letting people talk about their favorite books more, I think Aubrey will do a much better job at explaining this one. But this book I gave 5 stars, which I think is my favorite book club book of the year. And it's a satirical view on the publishing industry, told through a chaotic story that is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. It's probably like my favorite book cover. One of my favorite book covers
I
because
love
it's
it.
so simple and it's just, I don't know. It's great. I love
It's
it.
perfect. Spot on.
And look how it's short, like Babble. Oh my god, Babble. Oh my god, Babble. He who. But it's like
Yeah.
totally different than all of her other books. Poppy War is huge too, but love this. I felt like this was rooted in some truth. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely love this one. 5 stars. Probably my favorite book club book of the year. I zoomed through this. I did not want to stop. But yeah, that's my number 6.
Cute. We are, oh, 6 for me. This is technically a book club book, but we read it beforehand. We
Yeah.
cheated. We knew it was coming and we didn't care. Hem. Funny story. Her release this year in 2024. I think that this is my favorite romance book that I have ever read. And all of the credit of that goes to the fact that I liked the B plot. I really liked all of the
Yes.
characters. I liked the side characters. This was such a fun story. If you don't know the premise, it's giving New Girl, okay?
New Girl.
Basically, the main character is engaged to a guy, and on his bachelor party night, he comes home and says, "Hey, guess what? I'm leaving you for my girl best friend." Yikes. He's like, "I'm going to go on a sexcation. You got to get the fuck out of the house because she's moving in and I'm going to be engaged to this new girl, the
Engaged,
girl best
guys.
friend."
Engaged.
And so our main character's like, "Shit, I'm not from this area. I moved here. I dedicated my whole life to this man. What the fuck am I going to do?" Well, the girl best friend had a boyfriend who's equally as heartbroken and shows up on her doorstep looking for the girl best friend that is now with her fiance. It's a circle, y'all. It's a circle, y'all.
Circle.
And so she moves in with the ex of the ex, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like they just switched partners and now they
Yes.
live together in his apartment. And he's like heartbroken. He smokes a lot of pot, like listens to the same song over and over again. It's very Nick Miller. Like it's so
Yes.
Nick Miller.
And you have to frame it that way in your mind because otherwise, some people said they got icked out, but I didn't at all. I thought I loved this. I was obsessed. And basically, then now that she's living with him, there's a little bit of fake dating, but most of the plot is centered around the fact that she is planning on moving and leaving now that she has been dumped once a certain work event passes. And he is trying to convince her to stay and to claim the area that they live in. It's New England type area. As her own, and it's very sweet.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so number 5 for me. This is my
Top 5, guys. We are in the final stretch here.
So these are all 4 5 stars. All
Yes, yes.
I have number 5 is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, as Aubrey just talked about. This book is about Wes, and I feel bad. Wes. I'll always remember Wes. Wes is main character. He's like my favorite book boyfriend. Basically, they are childhood neighbors, grew up together. They're in their like senior year of high school now. They've always been more so, they're not enemies, they're more so rivals. They grew up as best friends, and then time does something to relationships. They grew apart. She's more quirky. He's that traditional kind of like sporty truck guy, but still a complete sweetheart. He's not like an asshole in any way. Um, and there's a bit of fake dating in this book. And so, and it's just it's very cute. There's playlists, there's like tension, the like high school
Mhm.
tension, and it's just adorable. I love this. I grew up watching 90s and early 2000s rom-coms with my dad. And so, the beginning of every chapter, there is a quote from a 90s or early 2000s rom-com, and they talk about it, and I love it. And there's Taylor Swift references. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Number 5 for me in our final stretch. This is a little bit of a cheat, y'all, but I put it at 5 specifically because I knew it was a cheat and I couldn't put it any higher. I have Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This is a reread, which is why I call it a cheat. This is part of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, all of those 20 plus books. This is the start of the trilogy Infernal Devices. And if you haven't read a Shadowhunters book, this is the book that I would tell you to read. I would tell you to read this trilogy and nothing more if you don't want to go any further. It is a period piece. It's like taking place in like the early like 1810s or like 1790s. I don't know, something around there. And it is a girl discovering a world of magic in London, England. Okay, so we're like kind of in the real world, but there's these people called shadow hunters and they fight demons. And then there's also like fairies and warlocks and werewolves and vampires. And there is a love triangle in here that is so special and near and dear to my heart. I love this series. I read it as a kid, and you know it's good when, as an adult, you can go back to something that you loved as a child and still love it.
And I read that series in college and I am obsessed with it. So it's
Yes.
for all ages. Um, Number 4 for me, we're going to do our top 3 people, but not quite yet. Number 4 is Queen of Shadows. You guys thought I was done?
Yes.
You guys thought I was done? No, I read one more this year. Queen of Shadows. I gave this 4 stars. This is the standout book for me in the Throne of
Yes.
Glass series.
My favorite in the whole series.
Yeah, yeah. It's usually everyone's favorite out of the whole series. Love this and Air of Fire. They're pretty neck and neck, but this one stands out. It has to. It's heavy. Read the series if you want to know more about it.
Yeah, honestly, you can't talk plot. You can't talk shit about that book.
No, I can't. 4 stars.
4 for me is Yellowface. Peyton was talking about it earlier. I love this. As someone with a creative writing minor, seeing the publishing industry through the lens of like an author that is published and like you know she's revealing facts. She's revealing truths about the publishing industry was so incredibly enticing. Also, June, our main character, makes literally the worst life choices that she could ever make and the whole time you're like, and then what? But it follows our main girl, June, and she is an author, but her book didn't do that well. But her best friend, Athena, is like top seller, hit, amazing author. Okay. She's making all of the money. Athena also might be a parallel for Rebecca herself because they talk about how she writes these like really pretentious books. And I have also read Babel, and that is a like amazing, amazing book. But like the literary skills and like brain power you need to read that book is off the fucking charts. Anyways, in chapter 1, I am spoiling nothing. June and Athena get drunk. They're hanging out. They're celebrating. Athena's gonna get like one of her books made into like a Netflix film or something like that. They eat pancakes, and Athena chokes to death. And June takes that opportunity to steal Athena's manuscript for her next book, pass it off as her own after some editing and rewrites, and then tries to pass herself off as Asian because Athena was Asian and it's about Chinese laborers in World War One or two, I forget. And yeah, it goes downhill from there.
And then
She's
she
literally
gets
yellow
kind of
facing.
blackmailed, and it's crazy.
Uh,
And
it's crazy. So fast paced, so genius. This is a dark satire. Like everything, you're just like, oh, like it's a train wreck of a
like
book. And
you're on it, you're on June's side, but like want her to struggle as well. It's like
I
I love that book. All right, number 3, we already talked about it. It's Funny Story. I gave that 5 stars. I'm so excited for her new book next year. I'm excited to read it for the podcast. So yeah, number 3 for me was Funny Story.
Number 3 for me is Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. This is the second book in the duology of the sequel series of the Cruel Prince series trilogy. A lot. If you've read the Cruel Prince trilogy, then I think that you would like this. Stolen Heirs book one. This is book two. Conclusion of the story. It follows Jude, the main character of Cruel Prince's younger brother Oak. It follows his journey. I really like that this explored more of the world of Elfhame. I thought that was super fun, and I love Holly Black's writing style so much.
All right, we can do our number 2 together because it's the same.
Number two.
Number 2, guys. Okay, number 2, Aubrey and I both have One Dark Window.
And we have the beautiful versions.
Yeah, I gave this 4.5. Aubrey gave it 5 stars.
High five.
This is, I know for sure, our top fantasy read of the year. I am
Yes.
currently a few chapters into what's it called? Two
Two Twisted
Twisted
Crowns.
Crowns.
Me too. Well, I'm more than a few, but
Yeah, so I'm reading that right now. So that book review is on its way. Love this
it's
book. Love, love, love.
it's amazing. It is a gothic fantasy story in the world where like the magic system's really unique because we have these things called providence cards, and they're like magical tarot cards that are being traded to give you different powers depending on what card you have. All the cards have like a good thing that they do and a bad thing. And it basically, in the story, Elsbeth Spindle, our main character, has this nightmare in her head, this beast that's talking to her, and you don't understand why he's there. But some people in this world are born with magical powers and they're like dying. It's called degeneration if you have natural magic. And she has natural magic, and the people with natural magic are, of course, being hunted by the king. So she was hidden away for the king. It's very like Grimm, Brother Grimm fairy tale vibes. It's giving a little bit of Little Red Riding Hood, a little bit of Cinderella, and a little bit of the main inspiration, which I will not say because I think it spoils the book, but another more obscure fairy tale. I love this gothic fantasy gaslight lamp setting, spooky fun vibes.
Love, 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 love. Yay,
Love.
One Dark Window.
Yes, and it was the hardcover official pick of the year of 2024. Slay.
Read it.
Number one, Peyton, what is your top read of 2024?
All right, guys. My top read is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I have to stand by him. I cannot believe I'm picking a a guy's book, but I am. It
No.
would be One Dark Window, but I just feel like Aubrey and I, like for a hardcover situation, we need to be like to collectively this is our favorite, but I want to diversify a little bit for you guys.
Yes.
This really was such a big read for me. I read this so fast that scared me. I was excited. This is hard. I loved all these books. I feel like top 10, they're just
Hmm.
your little babies, and you love them so equally. It's kind of. And, like, like, especially your top 3, and it's really
Yeah.
hard. So, yeah, Middle of the Night is going to be my number 1. This story was so captivating. I did not know the plot twist until the end, and at some point, you think everyone in this book has killed his friend at some point.
Really.
And that is good writing. Riley Sager, you are an incredible writer. I'm so happy and will read every book you put out.
Yes. I kind of did the same where like One Dark Window could have been my number one, but Peyton and I love that we agreed on putting it as two, but it's hardcover is number one.
Yes.
That way we can put our own individual number ones. And for me, it's got to be Circe by Madeline Miller. I have been talking about this book since I read it in like early March, I think. This is Greek mythology retelling of Circe, the first witch. It is feminist literature. It is so remarkably well written. It is by the same author who wrote Song of Achilles, if you liked that one. I loved this because it was very introspective. It was very character, a woman's stories, a woman's struggle focused. It was so good. It made me want to cry. I would highlight every single page of this book if I could, like if I annotated it. It's so beautiful and amazing. Yay!
Yay. All right,
That
everyone. That is it.
was a lot.
We have made it through our list. I think our reading goal next year, we will not push ourselves as hard. But watch us. We'll be like
No.
100 books.
50 books. No. I'm gonna. I probably would do 50 again, but maybe 45.
Maybe yeah, this is a little hard. All right, so please, if you have read any of these, I'd love to hear what you thought.
Yes.
What you agree,
What's your top
disagree
book of
with.
the year?
Yeah, what's your tops? I want to know everyone's top 3 books of the year. and then a recommendation for us to read next year.
Yes.
Because we love reading books that you want a review on, because we want to, we're all friends here and we love having conversation.
Also, memberships have just got put out. We like unlocked this back in September, but it's now there. So if you are a fan of the Hardcover podcast and you want to support us, absolutely no pressure, but we do have our memberships for the channel out. You can get some custom emojis, loyalty badges. I don't know what they're called, but they're really cute. It's like little coffee beans and like a little coffee cup. Very
Yes.
excited. I think there, you can check out the offerings, but basically, we just want to connect more with you guys if you want to help support the podcast. But we love you all so much, and we're so grateful that you got us to 500 subscribers and then 1,000 subscribers. Like, that's so
Yes, and now we're
wild.
building off of the 1,000, and it's just wild. I remember going home to my parents one day. I was like, "Dude, we're over 1,000 subscribers." Like, "What? We thought you were just at 300." I'm like, "I know." So I'm
Oh,
just like, if you've made it to the end of this very long book ranking year in
yes.
review, I just want to say we're very thankful for you. So please continue to like, subscribe, rate us on. We're on Spotify and Apple Music if you're on YouTube watching us. It helps us out more than you would ever know.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. This is the end of the year. I think that's wild. This has been truly just a year of hardcover podcast,
Yes.
and I'm so excited to see where we go in 2025. But for now, thank you so much for joining us and happy reading. We love you.
Merry Christmas!
Happy New Year.
Happy Kwanzaa! Happy Hanukkah!